Hallelujah. 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 We worship you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We worship you for who you are. Yep, yep, yep. We worship you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We worship you for who you are. Do, do, do. We worship you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We worship you for who you are. Do, do, do. We worship you. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we worship you for who you are. Dum 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 dum. So good, yay. All righty. Let's get at this. All righty. Hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Been a minute. I'm back. All right. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this day. Want to deal with some Hebrew history. There's so much said to the people of the book, the ancestors, about turning our cheek. But let's deal with some history. Give it some perspective. Did you always have us turn the other cheek? And is that always our mode of operation? And I say nay, no, not always. Hallelujah. Thank you, Yah. Be with me so that I don't put forth anything that goes against you, anything contrary to your will and purpose. Nothing to cause any struggle for those that are truly yours when it comes to them walking and enduring to the end. We don't want people to get shipwrecked because the messenger brings forth something that is not honoring, is not glorifying and magnifying you. I'm just an Ak. We all are able to teach, but I'm just your Ak. I'm just set as a brother to my brethren, my peers. Let me go forth out of that. Thank you for that. Blessings. Shalom, shalom, shalom. All righty. All right. Today I'm going to deal with some history, dealing with the Battle of Shechem and the aftermath with it. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to go a little bit with the 66 books or Bereshit and Genesis, and then I'm going to jump over to the book of Yasharahl. So it's going to be a lot of reading. So this may not be for everybody, but everybody's not going to read. And so I'm going to read it for you. Share some stuff that this is one of my favorite parts of scripture or the text, holy texts. This story has always been amazing to me, and so I'm going to hit it. I'm meant to be recording. Let me start recording now. All right. Well, dealing with the Battle of Shechem and the aftermath. So I'm going to say just a brief prayer. I just prayed, but I didn't record it. So I want every recording to have an acknowledgement of Yahuwah. I want to always give him supplication. So I thank you, Yahuwah. Thank you, Abba, for this day and this opportunity to minister. I'm just an Ak, but still, you've given us all the mantle to teach Thank you. Let someone benefit from what I bring forth. Blessings and shalom. All righty. So I'm going to be coming from Bereshit, Genesis, and also in the book of Jasher. So right now, I'm going to just go ahead and get to it and share my screen and go directly to Genesis 34 or Bereshit. Let's get back up here, Bereshit, and go to 34. So this might be a little lengthy. So those that, you can come back to it, chop it up, eat it a little bit, come back, eat it again. But hey, okay. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, whom she had born to Yaakov, went out to see the daughters of the land, and Shechem, son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the land, saw her and took her and lay with her and humbled her. He raped her. He took something that, a daughter of Israel is not supposed to be dealt with like this and dealt with by another nation. Verse 3. And his being clung to Dinah, the daughter of Yaakov, and he loved the girl and spoke kindly to the girl. So he was enamored with her. And Shechem spoke to his father Hamor, saying, take this girl for me for a wife. And Yaakov heard that he had defiled Dinah, his daughter. Now his sons were with his livestock in the field, so Yaakov kept silent until they came. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out to Yaakov to speak with him. And the sons of Yaakov came in from the field, and when they heard it, and the men were grieved and very wroth, they were angry, because he had done a senseless deed in Israel, lying with Yaakov's daughter, which should not be done. Foreign nations in Israel. But Hamor spoke with them, saying, my son Shechem being longs for your daughter. So he wanted that woman as his wife. Please give her to him for a wife. And intermarrying with us, give us your daughters, and take our daughters for yourselves, and dwell with us, and let the land be before you. Dwell and move about in it, and have possessions in it. And Shechem said to her father and her brothers, let me find favor in your eyes, and whatever you say to me I give. Ask of a bride price, and gift ever so high, and I give according to what you say to me. But give me the girl for a wife. Now he done humbled her and raped her and stuff, this, he still desired her, wanted her as his wife. 13. But the sons of Yaakov answered Shechem and Hamor his father, and spoke with deceit, because he had defiled Dinah, their sister. And they said to them, we are not able to do this matter, to give our sister to one who is uncircumcised, for that would be a reproach to us. Only on this condition would we agree to you, if you become as we are, to have every male of you circumcised. Then we shall give our daughters to you, and take take your daughters to us, and we shall dwell with you, and shall become one people. But if you do not listen to us and be circumcised, we shall take our daughters and go. And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's son. And the young man did not delay to do this, because he delighted in Yaakov's daughter. Now he was more respected than all the household of his father. So I guess this practice he did was, normal for them, because he's, seen to be, in their people, one of high esteem, one of good character they would consider in their land. 20. And Hamor and Shechem, his son, came to the gate of the city and spoke with the men of their city, saying, these men are at peace with us. So let them dwell in the land and move about in it, and see the land is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters for us to wives, and let us give them our daughters, only on the condition would the men agree to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us is circumcised as they are circumcised? So Shechem and his father is passing it on through the community, like, look, let's do this so that we can be one with them. We can have their daughters and we can intermarry. So they thinking this is a treaty is about to happen. 23, their herds and their possessions and all their beasts, should they not be ours also? Ours. Only let us agree with them and let them dwell with us. And all who went out of the gate of his city listened to Hamor and Shechem, his son. Every male was circumcised, all who went out of the gate of his city. And it came to be on the third day when they were in pain. These are adults being circumcised. Oh, so they was definitely in pain having the foreskin removed off to their penis. Yeah. The two of the sons of Yaakov, Shimon and Lewi, which is, to most people, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, each took his sword and came boldly upon the city. They didn't turn the other cheek. They came boldly upon the city and killed all the males. And they killed Hamor and Shechem, his son, with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah from Shechem's house and went out. The sons of Yaakov came upon the slain and plundered the city because they had defiled their sister. They took their flocks and their herds and their donkeys, and that which was in the city, that which was in the field, and all their wealth and all their little ones and their wives they took captive, and they plundered all that was in the houses. And Yaakov said to Shimon and Levi, you have troubled me by making me a stench among the inhabitants of the land and among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. See, this is key right here. You have troubled me by making me a stench, basically making me a bad odor, or making me displeasing among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And I am few in number. So he's like, it ain't nothing but a few of us. See, this is a big thing here. The numbers. A lot of folks think you got to have a lot of numbers, but when you rolling with Yah, the numbers, it's not about the numbers. I'm gonna deal with that too one day, sometime soon. I got a little talk on that I want to talk on, but anyway, let me keep on going. And I am few in numbers. They shall gather themselves against me and shall strike me, and I shall be destroyed, my household and I. See, look, no, man, that don't get in fear, Dad. Remember, Yah is for you. But they said, should he treat our sister like a whore? See, they like, look, no, we ain't turning no other cheek. We're going to deal with this. They dealt with that. Now, we've heard that story, or some people have heard that story. I'm not going to assume everybody has read the Old Testament, or what is called the Old Testament, the Tanakh. One of my favorite stories, because I read the book of Yasharahl. There's more to the story. 66 books gives us a nice little collection of books, but it does not tell the whole story. So what I want to do, let's move on and read some more of the story. So we got to go to Yasharahl to do that. We got to go to Yasharahl. And so, again, share the screen. Yeah, that's what we got to do. Let me make sure to pull it up so that I got it ready, because I had it up and it looked like I might have to pull it up again. That's one thing about these computers. You can have your stuff ready and it can close it out on its own. So, all righty, I'm going to go get it again. So excuse me for a second. Let me get that again. Yeah. Many blessings, many blessings, many blessings. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Let's see. I know. Chunkwilla taking all day. See, I want to make the screen big enough. So I'm over here working on it on the background. But let me come on back and share that screen so we can get this going. All right. Uh-huh. Come out and then come back in. Share the screen and find it. There it go. Boom, boom. See, I got it on my phone and I have it in a book. And you know, I ordered the scriptures, which has the book of Jasher and some other books like Jubilees in it. But I, want to share with you. So I'm gonna read it from here, and it's a quite a long read I got. So I might break it up a little bit, but let's start off at 37, chapter 37. And in the 105th year of the life of Jacob or Yaakov, that is the 9th year of Jacob's dwelling with his children in the land of Canaan, he came from Paddan Aram. And in those days, Jacob journeyed with his children from Hebron, and they went and returned to the city of Shechem, they and all belonging to them. And they dwelt there, for the children of Jacob obtained good and fat pasture land for their cattle in the city of Shechem. The city of Shechem having then been rebuilt, and there were in it about 300 men and women. Now, we just got through dealing with Shechem and his father Hamor. Okay, verse 3. And Jacob and his children and all belonging to him dwelt in the part of the field which Jacob had brought from Hamor, the father of Shechem, when he came to Paddan Aram before Simeon and Levi had smitten the city. So they had some connection to him. So they knew who this daughter was and should have, had some respect and went about the process and even tried to do a courtship before he just snatched her up. But of course, that ain't what happened. 4. And all those kings of the Canaanites and Amorites that surrounded the city of Shechem heard that the sons of Jacob had again come to Shechem and dwelt there. So they come in to dwell there after they done, killed it up, killed all the men, took everything. 5. And they said, shall the sons of Jacob the Hebrew again come to the city and dwell therein after they have smitten the inhabitants and driven them out? Shall they now return and also drive out those who are dwelling in the city or slay them? All the kings of Canaan again assembled, and they came together to make war with Jacob and his sons. See, these people in the surrounding areas, they ain't looking to turn their cheek. And Jashub, king of Tapnach, sent also to all his neighboring kings, to Elon, the king of Gash, and to Ehuri, king of Shiloh, and to Parathon, king of Shazar, and to Susi, king of Sarton, and Laban, king of Bethcharam, and Shabar, king of Ophnema, saying, come up to me and assist me, and let us smite Jacob the Hebrew and his sons, and all belonging to him. For they are again, some have come to Shechem to possess it and to slay its inhabitants as before. Now remember, Jacob was scared and he knew that they were few. Now this ain't just, the people of the city, they killed them, but these are surrounding kingdoms. So there's a whole lot more people than just them. The numbers are great. And all the kings assembled together and came with all their camps, a people exceeding plentiful, like the sand upon the seashore, and they were all opposite to Tapnach. And Joshua, king of Tapnah, went forth to them with all his army, and he encamped with them opposite to Tapnah without the city. And all the kings they divided into 7 divisions, being 7 camps against the sons of Jacob or Jacob. 11. And they sent a declaration to Jacob and his sons, saying, Come, you all forth to us, that we may have an interview together in the plain, and revenge the cause of the men of Shechem, who you slew in their city. And you will now again return to the city of Shechem and dwell therein, and slay its inhabitants as before. And the sons of Jacob heard this, and their anger was kindled. They ain't looking to turn the other cheek. They ain't no punks. Their anger was kindled exceedingly at the word of the kings of Canaan. And 10 of the sons of Jacob hastened and rose up, and each of them girt on his weapons of war. And there were 102 of their servants with them, equipped in battle array. So 102 and 10, so 112 of them total, going against 7 kingdoms, or 13. And all these men, the sons of Jacob, with their servants, went toward these kings, and Jacob their father was with them. So, 113. And they all stood upon the heap of Shechem. And Jacob prayed to Yahuwah for his sons, and he spread forth his hands to Yahuwah, and he said, O sovereign, thou art almighty sovereign. Thou art Father, thou didst form us, and we are the works of thine hands. I pray thee, deliver my sons through thy mercy from the hand of their enemies, who are in this day coming to fight with them, and save them from their hand. For in thy hand, is power and might to save the few from the many. If Yah before you, don't matter who against you. See, this is something that, I will have to wrestle with, because I'm trying not to be against even those that are with Yah, and that can happen. So I want Yah fighting for me. I don't want to be fighting with no man. I want Yah to fight it. And so, I have to back down from a lot of different situations because, hey, I want Yah to deal with it. Let him show. If he humbles me, then I deal with that. Because in the end, he's the one that decides to humble. He's the one that decides to exalt. But back to verse 15. And give unto my sons, the servants, strength of heart and might to fight with their enemies, to subdue them, and to make their enemies fall before them. And let not my sons and their servants die through the hands of the children of Canaan. But if it seemeth good in thine eyes to take away the lives of my sons and their servants, take them in thy great mercy through the hands of thy ministers, that they may not perish this day by the hands of the kings of the Amorites. And when Yaakov ceased praying to Yahuwah, the earth shook from its place, and the sun darkened, and all the kings were terrified, and a great consternation seized them. And Yahuwah hearkened to the prayer of Yaakov, and Yahuwah impressed the hearts of all the kings and their hosts with the terror and awe of the sons of Yaakov. For Yahuwah caused them to hear the voice of chariots and the voice of mighty horses from the sons of Yaakov, and the voice of a great army accompanying them. And these kings were seized with great terror of the sons of Yaakov. And whilst they were standing in their quarters, behold, the sons of Yaakov advanced upon them with 112 men, with a great and tremendous shouting. And when the kings saw the sons of Yaakov advancing toward them, they were still more panicked and struck, and they were inclined to retreat from before the sons of Yaakov as at first, and not fight with them. But they did not retreat, saying, it would be a disgrace to us that thus twice to retreat from before the Hebrews. And the sons of Yaakov came near and advanced against all the kings of their armies. And they saw, and behold, it was very mighty people, numerous as the sand of the sea. And the sons of Yaakov called unto Yahuwah and said, Help us, O Yahuwah. Help us and answer us, for we trust in thee. And let us not die by the hands of these uncircumcised men who this day have come against us. And the sons of Yaakub girt on their weapons of war, and they took in their hands each man his shield and his javelin, and they approached the battle. See, they were not finna turn the other cheek. They about to handle this. You got to have the balance. You got to have the balance. You got to know Yahuwah does not, he does not, have just this peace, 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 peace. He comes with the sword. And so if he comes with the sword and we are made in his image, you think is not times that we are able to come with the sword? Come on, get real, get real. All right. 26 and Yahuda or Judah it says here, but Yahuda, the son of Jacob, ran first before his brethren, and 10 of his servants with him, and he went toward these kings. And Jashub, king of Tapnach, also came forth first with his army before Yahuda. And Yahuda saw Jashub and his army coming toward him, and Yahuda's wrath was kindled, and his anger burned within him. See, he's angry. But see, this ain't sin. This ain't sin. He was angry, but he was righteous indignation. And he approached the battle with which Yahuda ventured his life. See, we're made to think that every time that we're angry and we do stuff, you shouldn't be responding to everything. But sometimes when you are in your angry and you come with a sword, Yah is behind you. It's not in sin. Don't let people always label everything that you do, when it comes to defending yourself and stuff. Don't let them always, label it sin. You got to test the spirit to see where is Yah in this matter. Yah may not be with you, but he may be. And so you need to test it to see, is this of Yah or not? Sometimes when people see people come with the sword, they forget that iron sharpens iron. And that the way that it does that is friction. Cling, cling, cling. You got to come against some things. Yahuda right here was coming against something. He was coming against Joshua, king of Tapnach. Okay, and Joshua and all his army, 28, were advancing toward Yahuda. And he was riding upon a very strong and powerful horse. And Joshua was a very valiant man and covered with iron and brass from head to foot. And whilst he was upon the horse, he shot arrows with both hands from before and behind, as was his manner in all his battles. And he never missed the place to which he aimed his arrows. So before, he never missed. And when Joshua came to fight with Yahuda and was darting many arrows against Yahuda, Yahuwah bound the hand of Joshua, and all the arrows that he shot rebounded upon his own men. When Yah fights for you, you may go to the battle, but when he fights for you, you're gonna see some casualties on the other side. Yes, 31. And notwithstanding this, Joshua kept advancing towards Yahuda to challenge him with the arrows, but the distance between them was about 30 cubits. And when Yahuda saw Joshua darting forth his arrows against him, he ran to him with his wrath excited might. So he wasn't timid. He wasn't fleeing. He was running at the aggression. Come on. He was running at the contention. 32. And Yahuda took up a large stone from the ground, and its weight was 60 shekels. And Yahuda ran toward Joshua, and with the stone struck him on his shield, that Joshua was stunned with the blow and fell off his horse to the ground. And the shield burst asunder. So it destroyed that shield out of the hand. It just knocked it out of his hand and destroyed it. And Joshua, the hand of Joshua, and through the force of the blow sprang to the distance of about 15 cubits, and the shield fell before the second camp. And the kings that came with Joshua saw at a distance the strength of Yahuda, the son of Yaqub, and what he had done to Joshua, and they were terribly afraid of Yahudah. See, that's the thing. Israelites, y'all heard of the Avengers, the X-Men and stuff like that. Israelites ain't no joke. They don't have just regular strength. Regular men don't compare to Israelites. And I'm not bragging or boasting, not coming with pride. I'm speaking loudly right now, but I'm telling it from what the text says. This ain't my words. I didn't write this, but I'm saying it loudly. 34. And the kings that came with Joshua saw at a distance the strength of Yahudah, the son of Yaqub, and what he had done to Joshua, and they were terribly afraid of Yahudah. And they assembled near Joshua's camp, seeing his confusion, and Yahudah drew his sword and smote 42 men of the camp. This is one man, smote 42 men of the camp of Joshua. And the whole Joshua camp fled before Yahudah, and no man stood against him. And they left Joshua and fled from him. And Joshua was still prostrate upon the ground. Oh, wow. And Joshua, seeing that all the men of his camp had fled from him, hastened and rose up with terror against Yahudah and stood upon his legs opposite Yahudah. And Joshua had a single combat. So he went one-on-one with Yahudah, placing shield towards shield. And Joshua's men all fled, for they were greatly afraid of Yahudah. And Joshua took his spear in his hand to strike Yahudah upon his head. But Yahudah had quickly placed his shield to his head against Joshua's spear, so that the shield of Yahudah received the blow from Joshua's spear, and the shield was split in two. So his shield got split. 39. And when Yahudah saw that his shield was split, he hastily drew his sword and smote Joshua at his ankles and cut off his feet. He cut them off. And Joshua fell upon the ground, and the spear fell from his hand. And Yahudah hastily picked up Joshua's spear, with which he severed his head and cast it next to his feet. I only seen stuff like this in movies. I heard in real life you can't just do that with, it takes a real sharp blade and some serious strength to do this. And when the sons of Yaqub saw that Yahudah had done to Joshua, they all ran into the ranks of the other kings, and the sons of Yaqub fought with the army of Joshua and the armies of all the kings that were there. 42. And the sons of Yaqub caused 15,000 of their men to fall. Didn't he say there was 112? 15,000 of their men to fall. Man, look, you can come with the biggest group. Yahuwah can work with one. He can work with 100. 15,000 men to fall. Numbers don't mean nothing to Yahuwah. You got all these numbers. Hey, I'm one man. Yah before me, it don't matter how many against me. I'm one man. Okay, and they smote them as if smiting at gourds, and the rest fled for their lives. And Yahudah was still standing by the body of Joshua, and stripped Joshua of his coat of mail, took his armor off. And Yahudah also took off the iron brass that was about Joshua, and behold, 9 men of the captains of Joshua came along to fight against Yahudah. And Yahudah hastened and took up a stone from the ground, and with it smote one of them upon the head, and his skull was fractured, and the body also fell from the horse to the ground. And the 8 captains that remained, seeing the strength of Yahudah, were greatly afraid, and they fled. And Yahudah with his 10 men pursued them, and they overtook them and slew them. And the sons of Yaakub were still smiting the armies of the kings, and they slew many of them. But those kings daringly kept their stand with their captains and did not retreat from their places. And they exclaimed against those of their armies that fled from before the sons of Yaakub, but none would listen to them. And they were afraid for their lives, lest they should die. 48. And all the sons of Yaakub, after having smitten the armies of the kings, returned and came before Yahudah. And Yahudah was still slaying the 8 captains of Jashub and stripping off their garments. And Levi saw Elon, king of Gash, advancing toward him with his 14 captains to smite him. But Levi did not know it for certain. And Elon was with his captains approached nearer. And Levi looked back and saw that the battle was given him in the rear. And Levi ran with the 12 of his servants, and they went and slew Elon and his captains with the edge of the sword. Man, see, I'm considering, should I continue? It's so much more to read because we're dealing with history. I'm gonna stop for a minute, but I think I'm gonna go back. We're dealing with history. You need to know Israel are warriors. We're not docile people yet. That's what we've seen. We're not timid people, but that's what we've seen. The balance is missing. We are able to bring forth the fight with anyone. But definitely, we need to have Yah behind us. Be prayed up, ready. They could be a greater people, more weaponized, more advanced in technology. But if Yah be for us, it does not matter. I'm not here to represent a brand. I'm here to represent Israel. And I tell you, I don't mind standing alone, but that's not what I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be a representative of Israel, not of a brand. You see, I got 12 sticks on. That's a 12 sticks clothing. That's one of my brands. But I'll cast that to the side for Israel. Israel is one nation. Those 12 brothers make up one nation. They stand together against any. Those 12 can defeat any if Yah be for them. Doesn't matter who's against them. Doesn't matter. And they have a right to righteous indignation. They have a right to have contention with others that come against them wrongly. I get it. Forgiveness is taught. It's something that we need to have in a many situation, but then there's times that forgiveness is off the table. Israel has been living in this land of America, and we've been a forgiving people. Is that always our call to be forgiving? Or is it the day coming that we pick up the sword? I'm not one that's here trying to bring forth strife or cause division, but truth is truth. If you only, you cannot have balance and just only stay on one side of the book. You have some people that are Besorah only. You have some that's Torah only, Tanakh only. You have to have the balance. So I get it. This turn the other cheek mindset. There's a time and a place for it. When it comes to your brethren, maybe you should turn your cheek. But when it comes to other nations, where is that at? Show me that. Show me that. And show me that anywhere in the Tanakh. Show me that. Where they turned the other cheek. Show me where they avoided contention. Show me. I'm willing to hear it. I'm not going to say it's not existent. I'm not going to say that, but they handled their business. They were in Egypt. When they first started off in Egypt, they were allies with Egypt, because of Joseph. And so things transpired. Without Egypt, the famine would have got Israel. So they were given a means of escape through Egypt. So even though Egypt was a land of bondage, there was a period of time that it was not. So we're not supposed to have this hate for Egypt. Esau, Edom, is our brother. We're not supposed to have that hate for them. Now, I'm not telling you to be all up, kumbaya with them, but come on, that's for y'all to deal with. But you got people that are right here dealing with you now, and you don't have that same conviction towards them. What's the problem? That doesn't make sense. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna tell you this. I see myself as a leader. If you have questions and challenge for me, bring it. I don't run from contention. I don't. Because iron sharpens iron. You washing clothes, the agitator is necessary to get things clean. You're lifting weights, resistance is necessary to build up strength. What comes against you, what you endure, builds you up. I don't want conflict, but I'm not running from conflict. Sometimes I'm trying to be about peace. I'll silence myself. I'll step away. But what I'm not going to do is let people think that they can walk over me, especially when Yah has told me not to. Israel, remember your history. I'm going to get back to this history because they didn't let Shechem just get away with defiling their daughter. We're in this land, and we've been letting them get away with defiling our daughters. Okay. See why we're where we're at. No, you're avoiding contention in situations that should be addressed. Okay. Where's your balance? Where's your balance? You'll contend with your brethren, your ox and occultis. You'll battle and contend with Israel, but you let these other nations get a pass. Come on. We in America. America has done vile things to us, and yet we still trust them. I ain't trusting the vaccine. I'm sorry. If you do, that's on you. I ain't hating on you. That's on you. But they have not shown me anything to make me believe that I should trust them. Nothing. All the evidence says don't trust them. As a nation, no. Individuals, yes. But as a nation, no. I don't trust Rome. I don't trust Ashkenaz. No. Sorry. But, hey, okay. Let's set them. And these other nations keep defiling your daughters. Yeah. Okay. Let's let me scoot on back and let me get back to this, sharing my screen and get back to this a little bit. I read a whole chapter, and hopefully y'all know that this stuff wasn't set up by chapter, but I don't know, should I even read all of it? Because it's a lot, but y'all need to know your history. Y'all need to have some proper foundation. So I'm gonna keep going. I know the time may get long on this, but I'm gonna keep going. So go to 38. All right, Book of Jasher, chapter 38. And Ahuri, king of Shiloh, came up to assist Elon, and he approached Yaqub when Yaqub drew his bow that was in his hand, and with the arrow struck Ahuri, which caused his death. And when Ahuri, king of Shiloh, was dead, the 4 remaining kings fled from their station with the rest of the captains, and they endeavored to retreat, saying, "We have no more strength with the Hebrews after having killed the 3 kings and their captains who were more powerful than we are." So they got the biggest kings, them ones died first. Okay. 3. And when the sons of Yaqub saw the remaining kings had removed from their station, they pursued them. And Yaqub also came from the heap of Shechem, from the place where he was standing. And they went after the kings, and they approached them with their servants. And the kings and the captains with the rest of their armies, seeing the sons of Yaqub approach them, were afraid of their lives and fled till they reached the city of Shazar. And the sons of Yaqub pursued them to the gate of Shazar, and they smote a great smiting against the kings and their armies, about 4,000 men. So, man, it was already like 15,000. Man, it's a lot more. Man, these folks ain't no joke. Our ancestors were no joke. About 4,000 men. And whilst they were smiting the army of the kings, Yaqub was occupied with his bow, confining himself to smiting the kings, and he slew them all. And he slew Parathon, king of Chazar. Man, it's a family, man and his sons. Man, come on. Israel, stand up, wake up. Okay, and he slew Parathon, king of Chazar, at the gate of the city of Shazar, and he afterwards smote Susi, king of Sardin, and Laban, king of Bethchoron, and Shabar, king of Machmach Nema, and he slew them all with arrows, an arrow to each of them, and they died. And the sons of Yaqub, seeing all the kings were dead, and that they were broken up and retreating, continued to carry on the battle of the armies of the kings opposite the gate of Shazar, and they still smote about 4,000 of their men. And 3 men of the servants of Yaqub fell in that battle. And when Yehuda saw that 3 of his servants had died, it grieved him greatly, and his anger burnt within him against the Amorites. Oh, see, he done got peed off. 9. And all the men that remained in the armies of the kings were greatly afraid of their lives, and they ran and broke the gate of the walls of the city of Shazar, and they all entered the city for safety. And they concealed themselves in the midst of the city of Shazar, for the city of Shazar was very large and extensive. And when all the armies had entered the city, the sons of Jacob ran after them to the city. 11. And 4 mighty men experienced in battle went forth from the city and stood against the entrance of the city with drawn swords and spears in their hands. And they placed themselves opposite the sons of Yaqub and would not suffer them to enter the city. And Naphtali ran and came between them, and with his sword smote 2 of them and cut off their heads at one stroke. Ching! Man, come on. This some straight up comic book stuff, action hero stuff. Man, we the real superheroes. But anyway, 13. And he turned to the other 2, and behold, they had fled. They like, oh, we don't want no part of this. And behold, they had fled and pursued them and overtook them and smote them and slew them. And the sons of Yaqub came to the city and saw, and behold, there was another wall to the city, and they sought for the gate of the wall and could not find it. And Yehuda sprang upon the top of the wall, and Simeon and Levi followed him, and they all 3 descended from the wall into the city. Man, sound like this was a big wall. And he sprang. Man, he had Jordan hops. So you're saying Yehuda had Jordan hops? Wow. Okay, 15. And when Simeon and Levi slew all the men who ran for safety into the city, and also the inhabitants of the city with their wives, and little ones they slew with the edge of the sword, and the cries of the city ascended up to heaven. And Dan and Naphtali sprang upon the wall to see what caused the noise of lamentation, for the sons of Jacob felt anxious about their brothers, and they heard the inhabitants of the city speaking with weeping and supplication, saying, "Take all we possess in the city and go away, only do not put us to death." Man, these folks is begging for their lives. 17. And when Yehuda, Simeon, and Levi had ceased smiting the inhabitants of the city, they ascended and the wall and called to Dan and Naphtali, who were upon the wall, and the rest of their brothers, and Simeon and Levi informed them of the entrance into the city, and all the sons of Yaakov came to fetch the spoil. 18. And the sons of Yaakov took the spoil of the city of Shazar, the flocks, the herds, and the property, and they took all that could be captured, and went away that day from the city. And on the next day the sons of Yaakov went to Sarton, for they heard that the men of Sarton, who had remained in the city, were assembling to fight with them, for having slain their king. And Sarton was a very high and fortified city, and it had a deep rampart surrounding the city. Wonder if a rampart is a moat. 20. And the pillar of the rampart was about 50 cubits, and its breadth 40 cubits. And there was no place for a man to enter the city on account of the rampart. And the sons of Yaakov saw the rampart of the city, and they sought an entrance in, but could not find it. For the entrance of the city was at the rear, and every man that wished to come into the city came by that road, and went around the city, and he afterwards entered the city. And the sons of Yaakov, seeing they could not find the way into the city, their anger was kindled greatly. And the inhabitants of the city, seeing the sons of Yaakov were coming to them, were greatly afraid of them, for they had heard of their strength and what they had done to Shazar. And the inhabitants of the city of Sarton could not go out toward the sons of Yaakov after having assembled in the city to fight against them, lest they might thereby get into the city. But when they saw that they were coming toward them, they were greatly afraid of them, for they had heard of their strength and what they had done to Shazar. So the inhabitants of Sarton speedily took away the bridge of the city, of the road of the city, from his place before the sons of Yaakov came, and they brought it into the city. And the sons of Yaakov came and sought the way into the city and could not find it. And the inhabitants of the city went up to the top of the wall and saw, and behold, the sons of Yaakov were seeking an entrance into the city. And the inhabitants of the city reproached the sons of Yaakov from the top of the wall, and they cursed them. And the sons of Yaakov heard the reproaches, and they were greatly incensed, and their anger were burned within them. So they was talking trash. 27. And the sons of Yaakov were provoked at them, and they all rose and sprang over the rampart with the force of their strength, and through their might passed the 40 cubits breadth of the rampart. And when they had passed the rampart, they stood under the wall of the city, and they found all the gates of the city enclosed with iron doors. So they sprang over. So basically, wherever the moat was or where the rampart, they jumped over it. It usually had to be a bridge there. And so, you think of a bridge, you don't think of something small, you think of something long or whatever. So they long jumped over that thing. 28. And when they had passed the rampart, they stood under the city wall, and they found all the gates of the city enclosed with iron doors. So everything was double locked. And the sons of Yaakov came near to break open the doors of the gates of the city, and the inhabitants did not let them. For from the top of the wall, they were casting stones and arrows upon them. So they up high, shooting down and throwing stuff down, stopping them from coming up. And the number of the people that were upon the wall was about 400 men. And when the sons of Yaakov saw the men of the city would not let them open the gates of the city, they sprang and ascended to the top of the wall, and Yehuda went up first to the east part of the city. So here they go, a high jump. He jumping over the wall up to the, man, sound like some straight up, man, Hulk smash. Let me stop. 31. And Gad and Asher went up after him to the west corner of the city, and Simeon and Levi to the north, and Dan and Reuben to the south. These individual 12, like the Avengers coming in. Come on. That's where the Avengers, they took some of these stories from our ancestors. 32. And the men who were on top of the wall, the inhabitants of the city, seeing the sons of Yaakov were coming up to them, they all fled from the wall, descended into the city, and concealed themselves in the midst of the city. And Issachar and Naphtali that remained under the wall approached and broke the gates of the city and kindled a fire at the gates of the city, that the iron melted. And all the sons of Yaakov came into the city, they and all their men, and they fought with the inhabitants of the city of Sartan, and smote them with the edge of the sword, and no man stood up before them. And about 200 men fled from the city, and they all went and hid themselves in a certain tower in the city. And Yahudah pursued them to the tower, and he broke down the tower, which fell upon the men, and they all died. And the sons of Yaakov went up the road of the roof of the tower, and they saw, and behold, was another strong and high tower at the distance of the city, and the top of it reached to heaven. And the sons of Yaakov hastened and descended and went with all their men to that tower, and found it filled with about 300 men, women, and little ones. And the sons of Yaakov smote a great smiting against the men in the tower, and they ran away and fled from them. And Simeon and Levi pursued them, with 12 mighty and valiant men came out, when 12 mighty and valiant men came out to them from the place where they had concealed themselves. And those 12 men maintained a strong battle against Simeon and Levi, and Simeon and Levi could not prevail over them. And those valiant men broke the shields of Simeon and Levi, and one of them struck at Levi's head with his sword, when Levi hastily placed his hand to his head, for he was afraid of the sword, and the sword struck Levi's hand, and it wanted but little to the hands of Levi being cut off. So his hand was almost cut off. And Levi seized the sword of the valiant man in his hand, and took it forcibly from the man, and with it struck at the head of the powerful man, and he severed his head. And 11 men approached the fight with Levi, for they saw that one of them was killed, and the sons of Jacob, or Yaakov, fought. But the sons of Yaakov could not prevail over them, for those men were very powerful. Still a lot of them. And the sons of Yaakov, seeing that they could not prevail over them, Simeon gave a loud and tremendous shriek, and the 11 powerful men were stunned at the voice of Simeon screeching. And Yahudah at a distance knew the voice of Simeon shouting, and Naphtali and Yahudah ran with their shields to Simeon and Levi, and fought them, and found them with those powerful men unable to prevail over them, as their shields were broken. And Naphtali saw that the shields of Simeon and Levi were broken, and he took his 2 shields from his servants and brought them to Simeon and Levi. And Simeon and Levi and Yahudah on that day fought all 3 against 11 mighty men until the time of sunset, but they could not prevail over them. And this was told unto Yaakov, and he was sorely grieved, and he prayed unto Yahuwah, and he and Naphtali and his son went against these mighty men. And Yaakov approached and drew his bow, and came nigh unto the mighty men, and slew 3 of their men with the bow, and the remaining 8 turned back, and behold, the war raged against them in front and in the rear. And they were greatly afraid of their lives, and could not stand before the sons of Yaakov, and they fled from before them. And in their flight, they met Dan and Asher coming toward them, and they suddenly fell upon them and fought with them, and slew 2 of them. And Yahudah and his brothers pursued them and smote the remainder of them and slew them. And all the sons of Yaakov returned and walked about the city, searching if they could find any man. And they found about 20 young men in a cave in the city. And Gad and Asher smote them all. And Dan and Naphtali lighted upon the rest of the men who had fled and escaped from the second tower, and they smote them all. And the sons of Yaakov smote all the inhabitants of the city of Sardin. But the women and little ones they left in the city and did not slay them. And all the inhabitants of the city of Sardin were powerful men. One of them would pursue 1,000, and 2 of them would not flee from 10,000 of the rest of men. And the sons of Yaakov slew all the inhabitants of the city of Sardin with the edge of the sword, that no man stood against them. And they left the women in the city, and the sons of Yaakov took all the spoil of the city and captured what they desired, and they took flocks and herds and property from the city. And the sons of Yaakov did unto Sardin and his inhabitants as they had done to Shazar and its inhabitants, and they turned and went away. We'll see. Okay, let me come out of here. Stop sharing. I actually got 2 more chapters that, I think should be read, but my eyes are starting to get tired. I'm not as young as I used to be, so be honest, and it is like 4 a.m. almost, so. But Jasher 39 and 40, y'all should read those. Read them on your own. Look them up. You have the book of Jasher, or you can even look online. You can Google it. But seriously, our ancestors were not weak. They didn't this turn the other cheek mindset that they speak of or whatever. It's amazing how people will throw away the mindset of the Torah and Tanakh for a New Testament way of thinking. They'll say that you should turn the other cheek and no contention and stuff like that. And I hear it. Balance, 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 balance. But if you're going to be a Tanakh only person, you can't turn the other cheek. If you're going to be a New Testament person, you can't speak on righteous indignation. You need the balance. You can't operate with faulty scales and faulty measures and diverse weights. You have to have balance. You have to know when to move and when not to move. And the Ruach is what gives you that. Definitely. Contention is going to happen. But do you have the right to respond? Or do you forgive? Sometimes you have the right to respond. A lot of times you have to forgive. You got to know which one. You got to test the spirit and see where it's at. Seriously. You got to know what Yah is saying in the moment, because sometimes being silent is not the answer. I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but if you got a molester in the family, that's not the time to be silent. It's time to let the contention come forth and deal with that person. If you have an abuser in the family, it's time to deal with that person. If you have somebody that's heavy-handedly dealing with people, manipulating, it's time to deal with that person. Maybe they can reframe and come back from it, straighten up the path. But first, you got to test that spirit. They got to prove that. You don't just give person place because they once had place. That's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness doesn't grant you restoration to what you once had. You violated. You broke the trust. You don't get back to that place with ease. I've never been a pastor, never been any of that. Some have called me Moray, but I don't have a flock. So if I've misled anyone, it was probably before I even came to knowing Yah. It was in the world. And I even repent for that. I turned to the Torah on that. I see that those things are wrong. So I knew better. So I began to do better. And I explained to others that are still stuck in that way to do better. The same goes for those that have taught in Christianity. When you know better, you do better. That way was the false way. And so you have to be open to be really, taught. Everybody, even teachers, have to be able to learn. I'm an active student. So from this day forth, no one has to call me Moray. I reject that title. Not because I'm not one, not that I function in one, but I don't need it. That's not what I need. I need to be obedient to Yah. So when it's time for me to speak, even if it brings forth contention, I don't care. If you don't like it, that's your problem. I'm going to obey Yah. And if it's for me to be rebuked, I would, hey, I have no problem with being rebuked. I have no problem with being chastened. That's a function of love. Even in the New and the Old, it says that Yahuwah chastens those that he loves. And so if we are in his image, we should do the same. Chasten those that we love. I tell you, open rebuke is better than secret love all day. Our ancestors had something happen, and they didn't take it lightly. Yes, Levi and Simeon, they went about it a little bit harsh. But then when the people want to come against them and judge them all, they had the righteous indignation to defend themselves. They didn't sit being passive and timid. They girded up, took the situation to Yah, and they addressed it. So those that are upset with me addressing matters, take that up with Yah. I'm always available for reasoning, always available to talk. My number has not changed. It's been the same, 810-964-0097. It's been the same for over a decade, probably 2 decades. I don't change up numbers. I do change up emails. I don't really like email. I don't change up numbers. But, I might try to get back in this bed, lay next to my wife, try to get some more sleep. But I just been putting this off and had my page shut down, and my Zoom goes through it. So open it back up. I don't know if I'm going to shut it back down again, but my ministry page is still open. So One Vision Ministry, Ikad, Chazen, Sheriff. Abba Yah, we thank you for another blessed opportunity to speak, knowing that contention will come. When it's time to forgive, let us forgive. But when it's time to address matters, let us do that as well. Let us have balance. Be able to test the spirits that come our way. Be like those in Berea. They heard the word, but they didn't just, settle on that. They went and studied and tested it out, sought it out. They showed themselves approved. Let us all do that. Let us not just be partial to individuals, but be partial to you. This respecter of person thing is it's going to be the death of Israel. It's going to cause a lot of people to fall away and be shipwrecked. You know, I get it. You have the ones that you want to hear from or whatever, but you should be able to hear Yah in all his creation. Donkey, woman, rock, whatever creation of his, the wind that he chooses to teach from, you should be able to hear and not reject it. Even if the person is not a viable source, you know, it's a lot of folks that I don't trust. But if I hear Yah, I will test that spirit and take it to the scripture. I'll take it to study and I'll take it to prayer with you, Yah, and you'll say that's still a word for me, even though that person is a broken clock. But a broken clock is right 2 times a day. So, yeah, especially a wall clock. Digital ain't gonna be right but once, but still. I thank you, Yah, for giving me my vantage point. Yeah, I'm peculiar. Many won't see things my way, and that's okay. But let us keep on our communication with one another, Yah, so that you can guide, direct me, and those that are like me, that can receive from me, will. Those who can't, may they find someone else, one of your other servants to find and receive from. May me and that servant or those servants, you know, be able to, you know, find some form of echad, some oneness, some accord, if we communicate with each other, because this is not a competition. It's not a battle. I'm on live. I'm on YouTube, not to compete with anyone, but myself. So I thank you for this opportunity, and may those that are yours, that are meant to hear this, hear it and use it. Test my spirit, test every spirit. You even allowed yourself to be tested over and over. And yet and still those people stayed in relationship with you after they tested you, because you're not fretted by that. You're not in fear of that. And we ought not be in fear of that either. We are fallible beings, being that we are mankind. You are not, and you are able to be tested. Why not us? Someone may be able to point out a flaw and get us back on the right path. In the end, it's all to your glory, Yahuwah. And I thank you, Father. Thank you, Abba, for blessing me and giving me a voice to speak when I used to be one that was timid. But you said, come forth with the balance. And now I speak boldly as I approach your throne of grace, not in pride, though maybe loud. It's not in pride. I admit my insecurities, but that's not where I minister out of. I minister out of obedience to you. My insecurities would have me shut up, but I'm bold because you've told me to be. So I thank you for that. Blessings and shalom. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. We'll end this. Blessings and shalom.